What's up, fight fans? Just wanted to give you a quick prediction breakdown of how I see Spence versus Crawford going this Saturday. A lot of talk about this fight. This fight's been one of those fights that people wanted to see for 4, 5, 6 years, and we're 72 hours out from the fight right now. You're having a lot of people giving predictions, a lot of breakdowns. Some people are just analyzing the fight, not really giving a prediction of how they see this fight going. So I wanted to do that in this short video here. First off, I'll be honest, I'm a person who, from when this fight was even talked about being a possibility, I have always thought that Terence Crawford was a better fighter and would win the fight. Now that we're 72 hours out, that hasn't changed. I think I have even more confidence that he'll win the fight, and there's a lot of reasons for that. People are bringing up the fact that Spence is a naturally bigger fighter, which is true, and that Crawford's really only fought 7 fights at welterweight, and fought at 135 pounds and whatnot. And what's that going to do? How's that going to play into the fight? And I don't think really much at all. I think Terence Crawford's had enough fights. He's been at welterweight for 5 years now, and this will be his 8th fight. So to me, he's proven and shown that he's big enough for the division and can fight at the division. So I don't think size is really going to play a big factor in this fight, at least for an advantage for Spence. So looking at this fight, how do I see this fight going? Well, to me, really, it comes down to, I just believe that Crawford is a better fighter. I feel like he has more tricks up his sleeve. He has more special effects. He has more things that he can do in this fight if things maybe aren't going his way. He can switch southpaw. He can fight conventional. He's a good counter puncher. He can box. He throws power shots. He has good defense and footwork and whatnot. Can really make guys miss. And I think he just has more abilities than Spence does. And that's not knocking Spence. Spence, to me, is just a solid fighter, right? He's an ABCD fighter, right? And what I mean by that is, he throws a textbook jab, the straight left, the hooks, the uppercuts, everything, is as it should be, but there's nothing special about what he does, right? To me, he doesn't have the abilities that Crawford has if things aren't going his way, to kind of throw punches from weird angles, or put together weird combinations, or certain movements that Bud can do. I don't think that that Spence can do. Spence, to me, also is a guy that when he gets hit and he's getting hit with combinations, you look at the Sean Porter fight, he covers up a lot. He doesn't come off of his defense onto his offense. Really, to me, as good as a guy like Terence Crawford does, and I think that's gonna play a factor in this fight. The one thing that Spence does have going for him is he's always in tremendous shape. He has cardio for days. He has a pretty solid chin. He's a smart infighter. He knows how to switch to this side, throw punches. Switch to this side, throw punches, and kind of avoid punches. So he's a really good infighter. If he gets his motor going and he gets in a rhythm, he can be hard to stop. From throwing a lot of combinations and really kind of just being really busy. I think the things that he does well are going to be a lot harder to do against a guy like Terence Crawford, just because of Crawford's IQ, his ability to switch from conventional to the southpaw stance, his ability to throw punches from weird angles, and kind of change his levels and use his footwork and stuff like that. I think that what Spence does well is going to be a lot harder to do against Crawford. The first probably 3 or 4 rounds will probably be really close. It might be 2-2. Maybe somebody will be up 3-1. And then I think the second half of the fight, you're going to start seeing Terence Crawford sort of take over with his counter punching, showing that Spence, while, a solid fighter, doesn't have, the footwork and the creativeness, with his offense and his defense that Crawford does have. And I think Crawford will start touching him up. Will Crawford get the knockout? I don't know. It's really hard to say. It's hard for me to say a guy who's never really been even rocked really hard, and has pretty pretty solid defense and a solid chin is going to, in turn get stopped in a fight. So I can't say that. Is it possible? It's absolutely possible. Maybe accumulation of punishment. Maybe Spence feels the pressure that he's losing rounds to Crawford, and then tries to move forward, put his foot on the gas, and open up a little more. And maybe gets caught with something, or gets caught with a few punches, and maybe goes down. Is it possible? Sure, it is. I think the most likely outcome of this fight is it going to the cards. I can see this being a 15-13 type win for Crawford that may feel more like a 17-11 win, just because sometimes certain guys get benefits in fights and in rounds with certain judges and certain promotions that other guys don't get. So this could be a fight where Terrence Crawford clearly wins the fight, and you're like, man, he won 8 or 9 rounds of that fight, and it's 6-6 or 7-5. I think that's a very possible outcome, so I don't think fight fans should be upset if that does happen, because there's a possibility that it could happen. Of course, you can be upset that a guy who clearly won the fight is in a really close fight, and a fight you felt like he won. But I would just say, don't be shocked, don't be surprised if that does indeed happen. Can Spence win the fight? Sure he can. Like I said, he's got a good motor. He can get in a rhythm and really start opening up and walking guys down. We really haven't seen him, sort of fight off the back foot before. I think we may see that a little bit in this fight. I think we're going to see instances where it's a high-level chess match and they're trying to, feel each other out and box each other and use the jab. I think you're going to see moments in this fight where they're standing toe-to-toe and exchanging, and it's an exciting fight. I don't think it's going to be, a boring fight all the way through. I don't think it's going to be a firefight all the way through. I think you're going to see a lot of, shifts and a lot of changes, in the fight, maybe momentum-wise, maybe, how the fight is fought, where it's fought. I think that's a really big possibility. Again, I think Spence is a good fighter, but I think Crawford is a better fighter. I think he can do more. I think he has more in his arsenal. He's, a little bit... I'm not going to necessarily say he's smarter, but he just has an ability to use more tools and to kind of throw different kind of shots and use his footwork and everything in different ways than Spence can really do. And therefore, I think he's just a more naturally gifted fighter, and has more tools in his belt in a fight like this than Spence does. And that's why I've always thought he would win the fight. So I'm going with Crawford winning the fight. Again, could he catch him with something and break him down the stretch? Absolutely. Is it more likely that this goes to the cards? Yes, I think so. You're going to see some firefight moments. You're going to see some intelligent boxing moments. You might see some, just kind of dirty mugging up that goes in there. Guys holding each other, hitting on the brakes, things like that. I think you're going to see some ebbs and flows, and I think you're going to see a good fight. To me, this is the biggest fight, really since Mayweather-Pacquiao, and I think you're going to see a better fight than Mayweather-Pacquiao. So, let me know what you think in the comment section below. How do you see this fight going? Who do you have winning the fight? I'm kind of curious to see what other people are thinking. And then I guess, that's it for me. So, see ya.